All right, welcome back. Let's talk about this video. I have one last video for you that I want us to go through together. This question says, can modern men lead in marriage? Before we get into this video, what do you think? Can modern men lead in marriage? All right. A sector, a very small sector, might I add, or I might add, I should say, a very small sector of modern men are saying they're walking away from marriage anyway. 𝐿𝑉𝐺𝑒, men going their own way, right? They said they don't want to be a part of marriage anymore. They don't have time for the modern women, especially in the Western world. Some of them are saying, I could still deal with marriage, but I'm packing my loads. I'm going to the other side of the continent, going to Brazil. They're going to Thailand, right? So that brings me this question. Can modern men lead in marriage? Are they competent enough to lead in marriage? And I mean across the board. So for me as a Nigerian man, still connected very much with what's going on in Nigeria. Maybe not as much as somebody that lives in Nigeria, but very much more than an average American. It's looking very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? What's that word when the visibility has reduced when it's about to rain, right? Like there's reduced visibility. I can't see. What do you mean shoe? What do you mean Larry? You get like, can modern men, is there a chance that they can still lead in a marriage? Because what I'm getting a lot from their complaints is they still want marriage, but the other side of brain said they're walking away. But then they're actively engaged in conversations about marriage, but then they want to walk away. They're confused, they're not sure. And a man that's not sure of himself definitely will attract the worst and the worst of romantic relationships. That's just the way it works, okay? So I'm not sure which one is the cause or the effect at this point. Is it the fault of the woman or is it the fault of the men? Well, let's forget about fault for a second, right? But what's going on is that they're having a hard time. They're having a hard time leading in marriage. We can tell by the rate of divorce out there. I can hear somebody, my spirit just told me, somebody just said, but women are the one pulling the plug 80% of the time. 90% college-educated women are pulling the plug on the marriage. Yeah, I know. I've seen that stat too, right? What does that tell us? Oh, you tell us that women just don't want to be married. Oh, they don't want to be married. Okay. Women or the woman you've encountered, or which one? Okay, all right. Well, it starts, it's data, and it's saying something. Okay, what does it say? Okay. Well, clearly, they are getting married first, and they're pulling the plug on the marriage. I am still of the opinion that no one is getting married to want to pull plug on the marriage. That's not how that works. They've encountered something, some kind of experience, not your fault, that made them say, hey, this ain't no they work. They have options or perception of options or something. Bottom line is I say, before I suffer, I will just go and live my life by myself. That's a lot of that is going on. Obviously, initiated, not the downfall of the marriage, but the actual divorce filing initiated by the woman. There's a difference between the beginning of the downslope of the marriage and when the divorce was actually filed. When the divorce was actually filed, the data shows that 80% of that is initiated by women, and for college-educated women, 90%. Okay. So the other thing that's telling me is that men, even if they're in a toxic relationship, they will stay there and call it duty and responsibility. And then they stay there until one day they will chop premium breakfast. And then I will be shocked. I'll be like, what happened? I didn't see this coming. I did everything my best. I did it. All that, right? So the divorce rate is showing us that men are struggling with leading in marriage. And then also, these people that are about to talk right now, they're saying something, and I want us to listen to it together. And then
About 1 in 3 American adults are single. They say they're single, though women outnumber men. Apparently, one expert right here says that men are actually out of their depth in the dating pool.
Wow. Okay. So Dr. Wendy Walsh says modern men.
Did you hear that? 1 in 3 American adults are single.
Are struggling to find a mate, and it is taking a toll on
Men are struggling to find a mate.
society at large. So thank you so much for joining us to explain.
Happy
Good
to be
morning,
here.
Dr.
Hi.
Walsh. So let's start with what you said. Modern men are struggling to, quote, compete in the marriage marketplace.
All right, so let's unpack that really quickly. They are struggling to compete in the marriage marketplace. So what that means is that somebody is getting married, but a lot of them are struggling to be competent enough to create a marriage. That's what that sentence means. It doesn't mean they're struggling to find a wife. I don't know if that's also true in another conversation, but this is not that conversation. This conversation is that men, modern men, are struggling to compete in the marriage marketplace.
What does that mean exactly, and why do you think it's happening?
So it's important to know that this is the research of Joseph Henrich at Harvard University. And basically, as an evolutionary biologist, he's seeing that what we're seeing is an oversupply of successful women. More women are getting college educated and making more money. I teach on a college campus. We see
Oversupply of educated women. That's turning out to be a bad thing? What? Education, since when has education has hurt anybody?
the feminization of college campuses. The problem is women don't like to date down. So as a result, they're all chasing this small group of alphas and leaving the rest of the good guys out.
They're leaving the rest of the good guys out. Ladies, you are chasing after all of the alpha male. That's what this study is being interpreted as. Let's keep going.
Well, maybe it's, I mean, it sounds like a good thing to me. I don't know.
Says the alpha.
Says the alpha. It sounds like a good thing to me, and then says the alpha, right?
I don't know, like to hear that, like, there's more successful women and they hold, you know, the standards are higher. That, to me, sounds like a good thing. But tell us about this quote you have: normalize monogamy.
So
this is normalized already.
Well, actually, if you look at the history of the human species, we've had all kinds of mating systems. However, monogamy has been actually increasing in the last 100 years. It's been moving around Western and even Eastern cultures because it makes society safer. When there is one
monogamy has been actually increasing in the last 100 years. It makes society safer. Is that what she said?
Eastern cultures, because it makes society safer. When there is one woman for every man, you don't get a bunch of angry men in the lower classes.
A bunch of angry men in the lower classes. Are you listening to that? Key Pearl says TJ Holmes the cheater. No, this is not TJ Holmes at all. This is somebody else. I know TJ Holmes. That's not him right there. The lady in the blue and the guy in suits were having an affair. No, this is not TJ Holmes. No, not at all. They don't look alike at all. I know TJ Holmes. TJ Holmes is a lot slimmer than this guy. Yeah, it's time to abolish the word submission when it comes to two people in a couple. Kumbe, you just got here. You didn't listen to the whole context. We will not be abolishing the word submission. What we'll be doing is learning how career and relationships work so that you will stop creating children with people that you can't submit to in a relationship. Both people in any healthy relationship have to submit. It's called putting pride under control, because pride is nobody's mate. It will destroy everybody, including the children. But I think she's probably watching all the way from the beginning. Let's see here. So can modern men lead in marriage? Yes, they are having a hard time even competing in marriage marketplace. If a person is having a hard time competing in marriage marketplace, there's a good chance they will compete in leading in the marriage, right? They will end up in the conversation with a wife who says, since, I'm not shading you, Kumbe, since there are two people in the couple, we should abolish the word submission, right? And they won't know how to react to that. If my wife comes to me and say, hey, why do we need submission? You know, afterward, we took over like, what do you mean, babe? I don't care about submission. and she will still submit. I will not be having arguments around the word submission, but that will be the reality. To create any type of healthy relationship, people will be submitting to one mission. Okay, and it starts by a man submitting to his higher self, and then he attracts a woman who doesn't even know it. She's just submitting anyway.
Who become violent. In fact, when monogamy
So,
has been moving
angry
around
men.
Western and even Eastern cultures because it makes society safer. When there is one woman for every man, you don't get a bunch of angry men in the lower classes who become violent. In fact, when monogamy is not in fashion in a culture, you will find that crime rates go up, sexual assault goes up. You leave this group of marauding men in the lower ranks who are pretty frustrated.
Wait, so are you
You see now? So anyway, I don't know what to do with this information yet, really. The truth is that modern men are struggling to be leaders. I think it's a product of soft life, easy life. They don't have to get out there and hunt for food. They can sit at home, work from a computer, make 6 figures, right? Order Uber Eats, Grubhub. Just soft life. Challenges as a man, as building a man is now being shamed, you know. Another aspect of it that you will hear a lot on the social media is that women are emasculating men. What kind of man is being emasculated? Just think about that. Modern men? Is that modern man weak or strong if he could be emasculated? That's the side of the conversation I'm concerned about, right? Same thing. I'm not saying you're wrong that they are being emasculated. I don't know what you mean by that, honestly, but I hear that a lot. But men that are being emasculated by what? The Matrix or the women? Or what exactly? Is that man, would you consider that man weak or strong? Because again, I have to measure him against himself because there's nothing else. We have children, women, men, we have God. So in terms of the human beings, the man is literally responsible for himself, right? So exactly which one is it here? Being emasculated by, being emasculated by whatever you want to consider. Is he being emasculated because, would you consider that weak or strong, right? What if you and I just make that completely irrelevant? But clearly, there's something about ourselves that we need to learn so that we're not so quick to say we're being emasculated, right? We will actually address a few other things. Maybe you and I will still come back to the conclusion that yes, we're being emasculated. Maybe, okay? To a large extent, at the grand macro level, I think men are being emasculated. But particularly by the women that you're dealing with on a regular day-to-day basis, it's a weird conversation that I am willing to have nonetheless, right? But there's something about competence here that we need to talk about, right? The cards you're dealt is the modern woman. Those are the cards you're dealt. We're talking generals, right? So generals, that's the cards you're dealt, right? Are you competent? When you end up eventually ending up in a marriage because somebody said we're equal partners and you bought into it, and then you end up and you're trying to play partner and she's now saying, he's not a man. You acting like a child, or she say things like, I feel like I'm not trying to be your mother. You're like, wait, you're not trying to be my mother. I thought we were equal partners. And then you're now confused. Competence. Can you blame that on women? Or we can blame that on competence. Competence is better for me, if you ask me, because then you and I can engage it and start studying what is it about ourselves that we can improve, right? That's where we are right now. Okay? That's where we are. But yeah, that's the conversation right now. My conclusion at this point in time, I'm open for the conversation. My conclusion is that the modern man is not capable, they're not competent, they can't lead. It shows in divorce rates, it's showing in their struggles in their marketplace, dating marketplace, marriage marketplace. And that's what we're dealing with today. Okay. Kathy, hi Kathy. Kathy says, I think a lot of men have dealt with a lot from men, and they are refusing to accept certain things and setting up standards. So in turn, men are suffering. Yeah, I agree with that. But here's the thing, gentlemen, we can't afford to count on that to fix the issue. We're gonna have to just improve ourselves, right? That's what we're going to have to do. There's no way around it, you know. There's nowhere. So what should the women be doing? They should be taking care of your children. Okay? They should be taking care of themselves for you, taking care of their children, making our world beautiful. Continue to receive love from those competent men, many of them out there that can still give love and make our world beautiful. Okay? If that sounds like simping to you, you deserve all the disrespect you get from all the women you encounter, and all the lack of submission you're going to get, and all you deserve every single one of it. And that's fair. Since we're looking for fairness, that's fair. Okay? All right. That's all I have for you today. Hopefully I brought some value. Okay. Yeah, it's looking like, I try to keep it at 2 hours, but we'll be back here for another Sunday Prestige live. Sundays, 5 p.m. Okay. I'll be dropping lots of videos this week. Make sure you're watching out for those videos. 2 p.m. Around 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Look out for them. Subscribe. Okay. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. All right. I had a good time covering this topic. This was some of my favorite topics. So I had a good time, and I'm hoping that you enjoy the content as much as I enjoy reacting to those videos, delivering the content. And I am open to any disagreement, point of contention, another insights that you gained. Share them with me. I want to hear what your thoughts are about this type of things. Okay. But yeah, shout out to 𝐋𝐄𝐀𝐃, shout out to Kathy, 𝐷Love, everybody that stopped by today, Rebecca, Tima, and Timbasi. Shout out to everybody that's been watching, people that were in and out. Just do me a favor, make sure you go grab the link to this video and share it with 10 people by email. Send it directly to them by email and let them know that we're having some type of conversation here. Okay. But hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.